Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1976. This isn't just any penny you find in your pocket or piggy bank. This little coin carries a story, a celebration, and sometimes even a staggering value that can surprise you. So listen closely and enjoy this journey through the details, rarity, and worth of the 1976 Lincoln penny. The 1976 Lincoln penny was minted to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States of America, marking 200 years since the Declaration of Independence. What makes this penny instantly recognizable and unique is its special reverse design featuring the iconic Union shield. Unlike the regular wheat ears design found on pennies minted before 1959, or the Lincoln Memorial design used from 1959 to 2008, this bicentennial penny boldly displays a shield symbolizing strength and unity of the nation after 2 centuries. The obverse side keeps the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, a tribute to one of the most revered presidents in American history, whose image has been gracing the penny since 1909. This fusion of history and symbolism makes the 1976 penny a cherished collector's item. But here's where things get even more interesting. While millions of these bicentennial pennies were produced, the true collectors know that not all 1976 pennies are created equal. Most of them were minted in massive quantities for everyday use, which means circulated examples aren't rare or particularly valuable. However, when you start exploring uncirculated coins, proof sets, and especially coins with mint errors, the story changes dramatically. Finding a 1976 penny that is flawless and shiny, untouched by wear and tear, already puts it in a higher tier of desirability for collectors. Speaking of errors, this is where the 1976 Lincoln penny can become a treasure chest of surprises. Errors such as double dies, where the coin's design appears to be stamped twice, causing a doubling effect on the lettering or date, can significantly increase a penny's worth. There are also minting mistakes like off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment, and die cracks that add unique, one-of-a-kind character to a coin. These errors make each penny a unique specimen and often command a premium price among collectors who hunt for these unusual variations. The rarity of these errors combined with the historic nature of the coin creates an alluring puzzle for numismatists worldwide. Now, let's talk about the value, because that's what really catches everyone's attention. While a regular circulated 1976 penny is worth just its face value, once you step into the realm of rare uncirculated examples and especially error coins, the value can rise exponentially. High-grade specimens graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC in perfect mint state condition have been known to fetch hundreds of dollars, sometimes even thousands. But there's a rare breed of 1976 Lincoln pennies that have sold or are valued at jaw-dropping prices, mainly due to extraordinary mint errors or pristine condition combined with unique characteristics. In fact, for collectors who manage to find a flawless 1976 Lincoln penny with an exceptional mint error and perfect grading, the value can skyrocket beyond imagination. Some of these extremely rare coins have been appraised or sold for as much as $79,000. Imagine that, a tiny penny, smaller than a thumb, potentially worth an astonishing $79,000. This incredible value speaks to the passion, dedication, and excitement in the coin collecting world, proving that even the smallest pieces of metal can carry immense historical and financial significance. So, next time you stumble upon a 1976 Lincoln penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look for that sharp Union shield. Check if the date looks doubled or if the coin has any strange markings or off-center strikes. If you're lucky enough to own one in pristine condition or with a mint error, you might be sitting on a remarkable piece of history, and possibly a fortune. Top 2, we're diving into the fascinating story of the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1993. This penny might look like your everyday coin, but trust me, it holds secrets and surprises that make it a coveted treasure for numismatists around the world. Stick with me as we explore every detail of this coin, its design, historical significance, rarity, and why some examples of this humble penny can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Listen carefully and enjoy the ride into the world of the 1993 Lincoln penny. The 1993 Lincoln penny is part of a long and storied tradition that began over a century ago when the image of President Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the 1-cent coin in 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's profile has become one of the most recognizable faces in American coinage. The 1993 penny continues this legacy with the familiar obverse featuring Lincoln's bust, while the reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, which had been the standard design on the penny since 1959. The coin's copper-plated zinc composition gives it that distinctive reddish-gold color that most of us associate with pennies. But beneath this seemingly ordinary exterior lies a coin that can be extraordinarily rare and valuable to the right collector. What really makes the 1993 Lincoln penny special are the varieties and errors that can occur during the minting process. Collectors always keep a sharp eye out for these anomalies because they transform an otherwise common coin into a rare gem. One of the most famous varieties from 1993 is the double die error, where the design elements on the coin appear doubled, particularly around the date and lettering. This doubling happens during the die creation process and results in a coin that is highly sought after by numismatists. Coins with this double die variety are not only fascinating examples of minting mishaps but also command significantly higher prices compared to their regular counterparts. Besides the double die error, there are other rare errors such as die cracks, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks that can add exceptional value to a 1993 penny. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin develops a crack, causing raised lines or imperfections to appear on the coin's surface. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press, resulting in an incomplete design on one side. These minting quirks create one-of-a-kind pieces that excite collectors and add an element of mystery and thrill to the hobby. Finding one of these error coins in excellent condition is like striking gold. Condition plays a huge role in the value of any coin, and the 1993 Lincoln penny is no exception. While millions were minted and many are still in circulation, pennies that have been preserved in mint state, showing no wear or damage, are far more valuable. Professional coin grading services, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, assess the coin's condition and assign a grade that helps determine its market value. A 1993 penny graded MS 65 or higher, meaning it is in near-perfect condition, is highly prized among collectors. When such high-grade coins also exhibit rare mint errors, their value can skyrocket dramatically. Now let's talk about the value, the part every collector is curious about. For a typical 1993 Lincoln penny without errors or exceptional condition, the coin holds only its face value or a few cents in the collector's market. But when you add the excitement of rare mint errors and perfect condition, the price can climb to extraordinary heights. Some 1993 pennies with notable double die errors, off-center strikes, or other unique characteristics have been known to sell for several $1,000s at auctions and private sales. However, the true outliers are the absolute gems, the coins that combine rare errors with flawless condition. These are the coins that can attract offers no one would expect for a single penny. In fact, there are rare instances where a 1993 Lincoln penny has been valued or sold for as much as $63,000. Yes, you heard that right, $63,000 for a tiny copper coin that most people overlook in their change jars. This staggering figure highlights just how passionate and dedicated coin collectors can be, always hunting for the rarest and most exceptional examples of everyday currency. It's a testament to the fascinating world of numismatics, where even the smallest coin can tell a big story and hold incredible value. So, if you come across a 1993 Lincoln penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look closely for any signs of doubling in the date or lettering, check for unusual marks or misalignments, and consider its condition. If it's a flawless specimen or one of the rare error coins, you could be holding a miniature fortune. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the 1993 Lincoln penny. Top 3, we're taking a fascinating deep dive into a very special piece of American currency, the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1982. At first glance, It might seem like just another ordinary penny, but listen closely because this coin is packed with intriguing history, unique variations, and some rare errors that can make it incredibly valuable. So sit back, pay attention, and enjoy this detailed journey into one of the most fascinating pennies ever minted. The 1982 Lincoln penny marks an important turning point in the history of the American 1-cent coin. That year was a year of transition. The U.S. Mint switched from using a mostly copper composition to a predominantly zinc core with just a thin copper plating. Prior to 1982, pennies were about 95% copper, but rising copper prices made it necessary for the mint to cut costs, leading to the new copper-plated zinc pennies. This means that there are two distinct types of 1982 pennies, copper and zinc, and that difference alone makes this year's coin a fascinating collectible. The 1982 penny can be either a heavy copper coin weighing about 3.11 grams or the lighter zinc version weighing about 2.5 grams. The mint continued to produce both types during that year, making it a fascinating hunt for collectors who want to identify and own both. The obverse of the coin proudly displays the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner and in continuous use since 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which has graced the penny since 1959, symbolizing Lincoln's legacy and the unity of the United States. But what sets the 1982 penny apart isn't just the design, it's the fascinating story behind the metal composition and the quest for the rare copper version that excites collectors around the world. Because copper pennies from 1982 are scarcer than the zinc ones, finding a copper 1982 penny can add significantly to the coin's value, especially if it is in pristine condition. Now, beyond the metal composition, 1982 pennies are known for a variety of mint errors that make some of these coins exceptionally rare and desirable. One of the most famous errors is the double die variety, where the design appears to be doubled on the coin's surface, often clearly visible on the date or the inscriptions. This minting error occurs during the die-making process and can make a coin extremely valuable due to its rarity. Other fascinating errors include off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during minting, leading to missing or incomplete design elements, and die cracks, where fractures in the die create raised lines on the coin. These imperfections turn each error coin into a unique collectible with great appeal to numismatists searching for unusual finds. Condition plays a huge role in determining the worth of the 1982 penny. Most pennies that have been in circulation show wear, scratches, or discoloration. But a 1982 penny preserved in mint state, meaning uncirculated, with no wear and sharp details, can be worth considerably more, especially if it is copper or contains a rare error. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC help collectors authenticate and grade coins, providing assurance of their condition and rarity. When a 1982 penny is graded at a high level like MS 65 or better, its value can increase dramatically, sometimes reaching several hundred or even thousands of dollars depending on the specific variety and error present. Let's talk about value, the part everyone's waiting for. While a typical zinc 1982 penny in circulated condition is just worth its face value or a few cents to collectors, the story changes when you find a copper version in mint condition or an error coin. These coins can command prices ranging from a few $100s to several $1,000s depending on rarity and demand. And the most exceptional examples, copper 1982 pennies with notable mint errors and pristine grading, have been known to reach jaw-dropping prices in the collector market. In fact, some of these ultra-rare 1982 Lincoln pennies, especially copper coins with prominent errors and near-perfect condition, have been valued or sold for as much as $70,000. Imagine that, a single 1-cent coin, easily overlooked in everyday life, holding a value that can rival rare stamps or historic artifacts. This incredible worth demonstrates how passionate coin collectors are about uncovering these hidden treasures and how a small coin can carry a big story and enormous value. So next time you come across a 1982 Lincoln penny, take a moment to check its weight and inspect it closely. See if it's copper or zinc, look for any signs of doubling or unusual marks, and consider having it professionally graded if it looks special. You might be holding a remarkable piece of American history, and a potential fortune. Top 4, we're taking a closer look at a fascinating piece of American currency, the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1978. This coin might look like an everyday penny, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collection journey, this 1978 Lincoln penny has stories to tell, unique features to discover, and potential value that can surprise you. So listen carefully and enjoy this deep dive into one of the most intriguing pennies from the late 1970s. The 1978 Lincoln penny carries on the tradition started back in 1909, featuring the ever-recognizable profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side displays the Lincoln Memorial, which had been the standard design since 1959. Although the design itself might seem familiar and consistent with pennies before and after it, what makes the 1978 penny truly interesting is its place in history and the subtle variations and errors that coin collectors eagerly seek. This was a time when the United States Mint was producing millions of pennies annually, but certain minting peculiarities and rare variants from this year make some 1978 pennies exceptionally valuable. One of the first things collectors look for when hunting for valuable 1978 pennies are mint errors and varieties that can dramatically increase a coin's worth. The 1978 penny is no exception. One notable error is the double die variety, where the coin's design elements, particularly the date and lettering, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. This creates a striking visual effect that immediately catches the eye of collectors. Double die pennies from 1978 are especially prized because these errors were relatively rare and highlight the fascinating imperfections that can occur in mass production. Besides double dies, there are other mint errors that can make a 1978 penny stand out. Off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during minting and parts of the design are missing or shifted, are highly sought after. Die cracks, where cracks in the minting die leave raised lines or marks on the coin, add unique and identifiable characteristics that collectors love. These errors turn ordinary pennies into unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles that tell the story of the coin production process and the quirks that make each coin different. Another important factor that significantly affects the value of the 1978 penny is its condition. Most pennies found in circulation show signs of wear, fading, and scratches, but coins that have been well preserved in mint condition, often referred to as uncirculated or mint state, are far more valuable. Professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, provide standardized evaluations of a coin's condition, which helps collectors assess its market value. A 1978 penny graded at MS 65 or higher can command a much higher price, especially if it also features any of the rare error varieties. Now, let's get to the part that every collector is eager to hear about: the coin's value. A typical 1978 Lincoln penny without any errors or special conditions is generally worth just its face value or a few cents more in the collector's market. However, once you introduce rare mint errors or pristine condition into the mix, the price can skyrocket. High-grade examples of the 1978 penny, especially those with double dies or other mint errors, have been known to sell for thousands of dollars. The passion among collectors for these unique coins drives prices up and fuels the hunt for the rarest specimens. In fact, some of the rarest and most sought-after 1978 Lincoln pennies, especially those with notable mint errors and perfect grading, have been valued at or sold for as much as $76,000. Imagine that, a simple penny, something we often overlook, suddenly transforming into a prized collectible worth a small fortune. This incredible value highlights how the world of numismatics treasures history, rarity, and condition, proving that even the smallest coin can tell a big story and hold tremendous value. So next time you find a 1978 Lincoln penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look for doubled lettering, off-center designs, or any unusual marks that might hint at a mint error. Check its condition, and if it seems special, consider getting it professionally graded. You might be holding a tiny piece of American history that's worth much more than you think. Top 5, we're going to explore the captivating world of the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1977. What seems like a simple penny you might find in your pocket or at the bottom of a coin jar actually hides a fascinating story of history, minting quirks, and rare varieties that make it a prized gem for collectors around the world. So, listen closely and stay with me as we uncover every detail that makes the 1977 Lincoln penny a must-watch for anyone passionate about coins. The 1977 Lincoln penny continues the legacy of the longest-running design in U.S. coinage, featuring the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. A design created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse side displays the majestic Lincoln Memorial, which has adorned the penny since 1959. But what makes the 1977 penny stand out is not just its classic design. It represents an era in American history where coins were still being struck with great attention to detail, and mint errors were often the result of fascinating mechanical and human factors during production. Among the many reasons collectors covet the 1977 Lincoln penny are the unique mint errors and varieties that surfaced during this year's production. One of the most intriguing errors is the double die penny, where the coin appears to have a shadow or duplication effect, especially noticeable on the date and the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This doubling occurs during the creation of the coin's die and creates a visual anomaly that instantly grabs the attention of coin collectors. Because the doubling is relatively rare and only appeared on certain coins from 1977, these pennies command a special place in any serious collection. Beyond the famous double die error, the 1977 penny is also known for other minting oddities like off-center strikes and die cracks. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned within the press, resulting in incomplete or shifted designs, which makes the coin one of a kind. Die cracks, caused by fractures in the minting die, show up as raised lines on the surface and are considered valuable minting flaws. These errors aren't just mistakes, they represent unique fingerprints of the coin-making process, giving each affected penny a story and character that no two other coins can replicate. Condition plays a crucial role in the value of any collectible coin, and the 1977 Lincoln penny is no different. While many pennies from this era have been well circulated, showing signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration, those that remain in mint or near mint condition are highly prized by collectors. Coins that have never been used in everyday transactions, retaining their sharp details and original luster, can command significantly higher prices. Professional grading organizations like PCGS and NGC have developed standards to evaluate these conditions, making it easier for collectors to determine a coin's worth and authenticity. Now let's talk value, the part everyone's excited about. A regular 1977 penny without any special errors or exceptional condition is typically worth just its face value or a few cents more to collectors. However, once you factor in rare double die errors or other unique minting quirks combined with excellent preservation, the value can increase dramatically. These error coins have been known to sell for thousands of dollars, drawing passionate collectors eager to own a piece of numismatic history that stands out from the millions of ordinary pennies minted that year. In fact, some of the rarest and most sought-after 1977 Lincoln pennies, especially those featuring double die errors and preserved in pristine mint condition, have been valued at or sold for an astonishing $72,000. Imagine that, a tiny penny, something we often overlook in our daily lives, transforming into a priceless artifact treasured by collectors worldwide. This incredible valuation reveals how even the smallest coin can hold a vast story and tremendous worth, proving that the world of numismatics is full of surprises. So, if you happen to find a 1977 Lincoln penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look for signs of doubling on the date or lettering, inspect for off-center designs, or any unusual raised lines from die cracks. If it looks special, consider having it professionally graded to confirm its rarity and condition. You might be holding a miniature fortune in your hand without even realizing it. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating 1977 Lincoln penny. Top 6. We're diving deep into one of the most interesting pennies ever minted by the United States, the 1985 Lincoln penny. While at first glance it might look like just another everyday coin, this particular penny hides a fascinating story full of unique details, minting mysteries, and rare errors that can make it incredibly valuable to collectors. If you love coins or just want to know how a simple penny could be worth so much, listen carefully and enjoy this detailed exploration of the 1985 Lincoln penny. The 1985 Lincoln penny features the timeless profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has been a symbol of American currency since 1909. This particular year falls into a period when the U.S. Mint was still striking pennies mostly from a copper alloy, but just a few years later, the composition would change dramatically. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. While these designs might seem familiar, the 1985 penny holds special significance because it is part of a period where minting processes were evolving, sometimes leading to surprising and valuable minting errors. One of the most sought-after features of the 1985 Lincoln penny is the double die error. This error causes the design, particularly the date and the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," to appear doubled or shadowed. This doubling happens during the die preparation process and is considered a minting flaw that collectors highly prize because it makes the coin unique. The 1985 double die pennies are rarer than many other error coins and can command attention and prices that go far beyond the penny's face value. In addition to double dies, other errors such as off-center strikes and die cracks add to the intrigue of the 1985 penny. An off-center strike occurs when the coin blank isn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing parts of the design to be missing or shifted. Die cracks, which appear as raised lines or grooves caused by fractures in the minting dies, are also highly collectible. Each of these errors makes every affected coin a one-of-a-kind piece with its own story, turning everyday pennies into remarkable treasures sought after by numismatists. Condition is a critical factor in determining the value of any coin, and the 1985 Lincoln penny is no exception. While many pennies have been circulated and show signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, those preserved in mint condition, meaning uncirculated with sharp details and original luster, are far more valuable. Grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, help collectors understand a coin's condition and authenticate its value. An uncirculated 1985 penny, especially one with a double die or other mint errors, can fetch significantly higher prices. Now, let's talk about the value that really gets collectors excited. While the average 1985 penny without errors usually holds just its face value or a few extra cents for collectors, finding one with a double die error or in exceptional condition changes the game entirely. These rare coins have been known to sell for thousands of dollars, capturing the attention of serious collectors and investors alike. The rarity and condition combine to make these coins some of the most desirable pennies from the 1980s. In fact, the most prized 1985 Lincoln pennies, especially those featuring notable mint errors and preserved in near-perfect condition, have been valued at or sold for an impressive $65,000. That's right, a humble penny, something we often overlook, can turn into a valuable piece of American numismatic history worth a small fortune. This incredible valuation shows how even the smallest coin can tell a grand story and hold significant value when rarity and condition align perfectly. So next time you come across a 1985 Lincoln penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look closely for any doubling of the date or lettering, check for off-center strikes or unusual raised lines caused by die cracks. If it looks exceptional, consider having it professionally graded. Your little penny might just be hiding a huge treasure. Thank you for joining me on this detailed journey into the world of the 1985 Lincoln penny. Top 7 and last rare coin. We're uncovering one of the most intriguing coins from the rich tapestry of American currency, the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1971. At first glance, it may seem like just another everyday penny, but this particular year holds secrets and surprises that can make it incredibly valuable and fascinating to collectors. So, listen very carefully and stay tuned, because this deep dive into the 1971 Lincoln penny might just change the way you look at your loose change forever. The 1971 Lincoln penny features the classic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has graced American pennies since 1909. This portrait, created by Victor David Brenner, is one of the most recognizable in numismatics and carries with it over a century of history. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the nation's reverence for one of its greatest leaders, which had been in use since 1959. But what really sets the 1971 penny apart is the intriguing minting errors and varieties that occurred during that year, unique anomalies that collectors dream about. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties from 1971 is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin's design accidentally stamps the images twice in slightly different positions, creating a distinct doubled image effect. On the 1971 penny, this doubling is often seen on the date and the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The doubling is so pronounced that it can be spotted without a magnifying glass, making these coins instantly recognizable and highly coveted. Because only a limited number of these coins were struck with this error, they are incredibly rare and can command very high prices, but the double die isn't the only minting oddity that makes the 1971 penny a collector's treasure. There are also varieties like off-center strikes, where the coin is struck off the center, leaving parts of the design missing and giving the coin a unique, incomplete appearance. Die cracks, tiny fractures in the minting dies, can also appear as raised lines or strange patterns on the coin's surface. These imperfections aren't just mistakes, they're physical evidence of the coin's production process, turning an ordinary penny into a one-of-a-kind artifact that tells a story. Condition plays an enormous role in the value of the 1971 penny. While many pennies show signs of wear from decades of circulation, those that have been preserved in near mint or uncirculated condition are far more valuable. These coins retain their original shine, sharp details, and lack the scratches and dents common in circulated coins. Grading organizations like PCGS and NGC assess these details to provide collectors with a trusted valuation of their coin's condition and authenticity, making it easier to determine its worth. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, the coin's value. Regular 1971 pennies without errors typically hold little more than their face value. However, when you factor in rare double die errors, off-center strikes, or coins preserved in flawless condition, the value skyrockets. Collectors from around the world are eager to find these rare coins, willing to pay premiums that can reach astonishing amounts. In fact, the most prized 1971 Lincoln pennies, especially those with significant double die errors and pristine condition, have been valued at or sold for $75,000. Just imagine, a small coin, something we handle every day without a second thought, can be worth such an impressive fortune. This amazing value shows how numismatics combines history, rarity, and craftsmanship into treasures that capture the fascination of collectors everywhere. If you find a 1971 penny, take a closer look. Examine it carefully for any doubling on the date or lettering, watch for off-center designs, or any unusual raised lines. If it looks special, it might be worth having professionally graded, and you could be holding a remarkable piece of history in your hand. Thank you so much for joining me on this detailed journey through the fascinating world of the 1971 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins and hidden treasures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another exciting discovery. Happy collecting, and remember, the smallest coins often tell the most extraordinary stories.